Good morning, everybody. It is July 5th, about 10 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday was July 4th, America Day, the day that America says we're the best. And we have our flags unfurled, waving in the air. We have fireworks. We have barbecues. We get together with family and friends, and we get drunk and just act like belligerent Americans, like every day. It's like a normal day for Americans, really. It's not. July 4th just happens to be an official day where we get time off from work to be drunk and blow things up. America. So, today we are talking about my conclusion regarding the Monolith THX AAA desktop amplifier with dual DAC amp modules. Dual DAC and dual amp modules. Ugh. If anything, Monolith should just change the name to something, I don't know, reasonable. That would be a huge step forward for me to be able to tell you what I'm talking about. But the Monolith, a balanced DAC amp, and whether it is worth its price of $480. It is currently on Monolith's website, not available. It's back ordered until the end of July. You might be able to find some of the units on eBay for about the same price, and I saw some of them, but that was last week, I think. But the shipping delay was about the same as ordering from Monolith's website, which suggests to me that it's all coming from China, from the same factory, and when Monolith has it back in stock, wherever you bought it on eBay is also going to have it in stock, and so it may not be of any real benefit to get it from eBay versus just waiting to get it from Monolith. So the Monolith, a $480 amplifier in DAC, versus the 789, these are the only 4 listings I could find today on eBay. The original price for the 789, I think, was $350. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I can't find the actual original price on Massdrop's website, because once a drop is finished, Massdrop simply deletes the price for whatever reason. I don't know why it's such a secret for them. Let me turn this down a little bit. But I couldn't find it. I think it was $350. And on eBay, there are 4 listings. One is for $750 or best offer. One is $789 or best offer. That cheeky bastard. You see what he did? It's $789. It's a Massdrop 789, and so he priced it at $789. Oh, that is so funny. You are a comedian. And then there's one for $1,000, and then there's one that is for $100 with 2 bids on there, and it's going to end. The listing is going to end at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow, and that might be worth checking out for. But I have a strong suspicion it is going to sell for at least the $350 that it originally sold for, and I suspect it's going to be a little bit significantly higher than that too. But if you can get it for $350, hey man, you may want to watch out for that listing. It's parts only listing, so I don't know what is wrong with it. You go into the listing, you'll find out. It may be fixable, it may not be fixable, but if you're the tinkering type and you want to drop money and buy this and see if you can experiment with it, then go right ahead. I wouldn't. I remember, it's parts only, so if there's something wrong that you can't fix, it's on you. That excluded, the $99 listing excluded. The others are just it's a little expensive, don't you think? Double the price minimum, up to $1,000 by this. Now I said the guy who priced it at $789 was a cheeky bastard. No, I changed my mind. The guy who priced it at $1,000 is a cheeky bastard. Yeah, $1,000 for the 789. Okay. Which one? The 789 or the Massdrop? Wait, that is the 789. The 789 or the Monolith? Give it to us straight. Well, I think it's a complicated answer. Like all things are with me. It's complicated. Here's why. Here's the analysis. Here's my perspective on it, and tell me if you agree or disagree. If you want, sound-wise, if you want a clean amplifier then the 789 and the Monolith are pretty much the same. In my comparison video of the two, I told you that I thought I heard a little bit more clarity out of the 789, but it wasn't something I could really definitively, objectively say. I thought I heard a difference. That's the best I could tell you. And listening to it, it seemed as if that the 789 was a little bit better overall, but it wasn't a definitive number, right? I couldn't say it's 25% better than the Monolith, and I couldn't say that it was 25% less good than the Monolith. It was nothing like that. I couldn't put an actual number on it. Consequently, to my ears and my experience, the 789 and the Monolith sound pretty much the same. I mean, whatever differences there are minute, small to me. Now, there may not be to other people. If you have a better ear than me, if you know exactly what you're listening for, and you're constantly listening for that in every song, and that difference manifests itself in one over the other of these amplifiers, then that might be a big deal for you. And I can't tell you whether or not that's going to happen, because that's you, not me. How can I be so sure about this? Well, let me tell you about the amps that I have, so that you know where I'm coming from, okay? I have the Audio GD 1 amp, obviously the 789 and the Monolith. I have the Tor Audio, I have the Dark Voice, Tor Audio David, by the way, the Dark Voice, JDS Labs Element. I have the Magni 3, RME 80i2. I have the, what is this? Astral and Kern L1000, the Audeze Deckard, FX Audio DAC X6, Quad PA1. I have the Woo Audio WA7 second generation Fireflies, the Jotunheim, the Lear 3, the Arista Audio Heron 5, the Questel CMA 400i, the MyTech Brooklyn DAC Plus, which is a beautiful DAC. It's a beautiful unit to look at, if nothing else. The Beyerdynamic A2, the Burson Audio Play, which is also phenomenal, by the way. I have the Music Hall 25.3, again, very unique and really nice. The Violectric V200 with a DAC amp module, which frankly doesn't work with Macs, and Violectric has no fix to it whatsoever, so that's not helpful. I have the Pathos Arium, the iFi Pro IDSD, the Sony amplifier. I cannot tell you the title of it because it's multiple letters and numbers and hashtags involved with this naming scheme, which Sony, you're worse than Monolith when you name your products. I also have the Sennheiser HDVD 800, and I have another tube amplifier, and I cannot remember for the life of me the name of that tube amplifier, but it is an excellent, excellent amplifier. And it's all the way behind me, and I wish I could remember what it is, but everything is black, and the lettering for the product name is black, and I can't read it. So there we go. So now you have a basic understanding of all the DACs and all that stuff. Oh, I just skipped over this one. The Cambridge Audio DAC Magic Plus, which is a headphone amplifier and a balanced DAC. Okay? So now you know. There we go. That's everything. I think you now have a good understanding where I'm coming from. So that when I make the following statement, you understand that I have, in fact, listened to all these other amplifiers, and I kind of have an idea. Ready? Here's the statement. I don't think that the 789 is substantially better or noticeably better, in my opinion, compared to the Monolith. Don't shout, don't yell, don't get angry. I'm just telling you what I heard. I don't think that there is, in fact, a significant difference. Other than the things that I noted during the review itself, it's hard. My ears simply didn't pick it up. I think that on certain occasions, you might be able to hear a difference of more clarity in the 789 versus the Monolith. And the only way I could explain that is, well, higher res files, an exceptional DAC, because the DAC I have with the 789 is the SMSL S8 SU8, which is a very clean and good sounding neutral DAC in my experience. If you find something that's better than that, then that's great. But to me, I don't think that there's a big difference. To other people, there might be. The only real difference that I can tell that would compel me to say to you, you should probably get the 789 is a complicated answer. So let's circle back and let's start again. Why is it complicated? Because in order for you to purchase the 789 and actually use it for the purposes it was intended, meaning balanced output, good, clean, clear sound, you should probably have a balanced DAC. It only makes sense to have balanced into balanced going out to balanced. It doesn't make much sense to have an unbalanced DAC feeding the 789, which then feeds an unbalanced headphone amp or unbalanced headphone. I mean, you're not really getting the benefit of balanced signal. You might get the slight benefit of, better clarity in the way that things are implemented inside the motherboard of the DAC, and we talked about that. My very first videos on this is that the 789 has custom circuitry. It's not a module. It's not a 789 module. It's just a custom circuitry. So as far as I could tell from my research, the 789 is exactly the same thing as a 788 module, except instead of the module piece, like a microchip that's soldered or plugged into the motherboard, it's actually in the circuitry, which is really, really cool to see. And because of that, the way that it's just part of the circuitry, it's possible that might increase clarity to a certain extent. Now, whether that's provable, I don't know. If you go on audiosciencereview.com, you look back and forth between the graphs that they've compiled for these two amplifiers, you will notice that the 789 tends to do better than, at least on graph, 789 tends to do better than the Monolith. Real-world listening experience, however, will be different, because even though on a graph that's generated by a computer and analyzed through software, it may look like there's a huge difference. To you and me, that may not actually manifest, because we're not computers. We don't listen like computers analyze. And the differences that the computer chimes up with may not be clear to us. So you should be aware of that before saying, the graph is so much better, and graphs can only take you so far. So if you don't have a balanced DAC, it doesn't make much sense to get the 789. It only does, in my opinion, this is just an opinion, it only makes sense if the following are true. Number one, you plan on getting a balanced DAC in the future. You're just not going to do that now, but you do plan on doing it sometime in the future. Then sure, then you're basically future-proofing yourself. You're getting a very, very good balanced amplifier in the 789. And when you have an opportunity, you saved up money, whatever, you'll get the balanced DAC. Great. Number two, you don't really care about balance versus not balance. You just want the 789 because of its build quality, except for that missing parts thing, or the 4 parts only listing, which shows that some products, some units may have a problem, like all units do. All products have some units that have a problem. You just want a good, clean amplifier, and you don't know whether you're really interested in all of this stuff about balanced versus unbalanced. And that's cool too. That may be justification for you to buy it. But if you don't already have a balanced DAC and you do immediately want to start listening balanced, then you have to invest. I gotta rephrase that word. It's not invest. Then you have to purchase a balanced DAC. And that's extra cost. This is, of course, assuming that you can find the 789 at the original price from Massdrop. And I think the original price was $350. If you can find it at $350, What's the additional cost for a balanced DAC? Well, you can go online and you can search for balanced DACs. You'll get multiple listings and stuff. But the two that I see are typically talked about are the Topping DX7S, but that's at $500, or the SMSL SU8, which is $250. This is the one that I have. This is the one that's feeding into the 789. I think it's a good, clean DAC. Whether there are better ones than this, could be. I don't know. I haven't heard any others except for the DAC Magic DAC Plus, which is okay. I don't think that the Cambridge Audio DAC Magic is cleaner than the SMSL. But that's just the way I listen to it. That's my opinion. So you're looking at least $250 if you buy it new, obviously. $250 for the SMSL. Is there something that might be a little cheaper? You might be able to find something that's cheaper, sure. I don't know where, but that's theoretically possible. So $350 plus another $250. Okay? Now that you're going up in price all of a sudden. So if you are, that's $600 that you're putting into this, obviously assuming that you can buy the 789 at $350. $600. Now to you that might seem like, you know what, I can spend $600 on this and it'll last me for 10 years. Great, then that's a way for you to justify it, and clearly it seems as if that would be a satisfactory purchase for you. But if you don't have $600 and you need to put in that money, and you need to have, you personally need to have balanced, then the Monolith is your only real alternative, because it comes with a balanced DAC and a balanced amplifier. And it's balanced from beginning to end because of that dual DAC and dual amp implementation. This is what it means. The way I understand it, after doing research and reading on it and going through Monolith's awful instruction manual, the dual DACs, here's what they do. They split the signal left and right channel. So the signal comes in from your computer via USB. It gets split into left and right channels. It remains in left and right channels, and they are sent to the left and right channels of the dual 788 modules, and from there are continued on separate into your balanced cable of your headphone, and then recombined, and then you get the benefits of the balanced architecture, which is clean, distortion-free, theoretically distortion-free, and you get also the benefit of higher volume output out of the balanced socket. So, assuming that there is no signal degradation from the computer to the amp itself, then once that signal comes into the amp, it should theoretically be pristine, unaltered, unfiltered, untarnished, and remain so all the way to your headphone speaker. So, I think that the Monolith is a true balanced amplifier with a balanced DAC from beginning to end, all in one little neat package. And at $480, and let's round up $500, it is clearly the cheaper option, assuming that you can find the 789 at $350. Why would you instead prefer to buy the 789, given all these factors that we've already talked about? Well, if you want to have something that's simple and just works, and that may actually be better because of the way that the circuitry has been implemented, then the 789 might be the way to go, because you can still experiment with other DAC options, right? So you can get any other DAC you want. if you get the Monolith, you are limiting yourself to that particular DAC module unless, obviously, unless you can get another balanced DAC to feed the signal. It's so not only would you be spending $480 on this, but also spending at least, as we talked about, another $250 getting another balanced DAC to feed. That doesn't make any sense to me. If you want an all-in-one integrated package, then the Monolith is really your only option within this price range. But if you want to experiment and you're not so keen about the Monolith the way that they've implemented things, you don't really trust them, whatever your arguments are, then the 789, assuming you can find it at $350. But now we know that the Monolith is cheaper, is in fact cheaper, because the 789 is being sold, as I showed you, for $750, double the price, at least double the price of what it was being sold for originally. So you're starting off at $750, then you're adding another $250. You're talking about $1,000 for the DAC and the amplifier if you don't already have a DAC and you really, really, really want to start listening to balanced, and that's why you're buying the 789. That's a lot of money. I can't tell you what to do with your money. I'm not going to suggest that you do one thing or another. Well, let me rephrase. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money one way or another. I can suggest alternatives that might be better in the long run, because $1,000 for the 789 is to actually get the 789 experience with the balanced architecture. Paying $1,000 for that is unreasonable, in my opinion. Is the 789 worth $350? Yeah, I would say that. I would say that at $350.
What would you like me to convert $79 to?
I didn't ask you. I didn't know. I don't know if you heard that. I think that was Google.
What would you like me to convert $79 to?
No, that was serious. Nothing. Go away.
Fine.
Ugh, she is so moody. We're talking about SIRI, by the way. Where were we? I've totally forgotten. She threw me off. I hate it when that happens. 789. $1,000 not worth it. $350 definitely worth it. I think at $350, if you find this thing and you are curious, even if that's all you have is curiosity, and you really want to just try to figure out what the balanced sound might be, yes, is my answer to you. Because if you don't like it, you can turn around and sell it on eBay for at least $350. And if you have anywhere close to $350 to $400, I don't think that you're going to have any problem selling the thing. None. So there is because of all that hype, and because there is limited quantity of this item, the used market is going to sell out. And as long as your price is reasonable, I mean, not $1,000, that's not reasonable, you cheeky bastard. As long as your price is reasonable, you will be able to sell it again. Whereas with the Monolith, I don't know how much there is, how big a market there is. Now, clearly there is enough for a Monolith to have sold out of them until the end of July. But I doubt that's the same type of hype as the 789, because there are a lot of people hyping the 789 to astronomical feats. Is it a good amplifier? Yeah. Now, this is not a review about the 789. This is just about the Monolith. But I think the 789 is a good amplifier. It's a clean amplifier. At $350, it's a no-brainer purchase. But once you start creeping into the $1,000 range, all of a sudden, more options open up to you. And you might be better off buying something that is about the same amount of price, $1,000 to $1,100, versus spending all that much money and putting it on a DAC and the 789 and blah, blah, blah. Maybe. What about the difference between the Monolith and any other amplifiers? Well, the other two amplifiers that we checked were the Element from JDS Labs and the RME. Now, the Element, I said to you, I thought sounded pretty clear and clean. I didn't really hear any distortion from the JDS Labs. I thought that it sounded clean to me and no big differences. Nothing of note. And so how do I explain that? How can I tell you that, look at this thing, this is, this is a balanced amplifier. How could you possibly say that an unbalanced amplifier like the JDS Labs is not, or is as good? Well, first of all, I didn't check the balanced. I didn't compare apples to oranges here. I didn't use the balanced output from the Monolith and then the unbalanced from JDS Labs. That would have been an unfair comparison, because there's no way that the JDS Labs can. You shouldn't compare that, because one item is simply not created to compete in that category. So that test between the Element and the Monolith really is for individuals who have about $350 to $400 to spend and want to know, should they wait and save up another $100 and get the Monolith, or should they just go in with the Element if they're not really interested in a balanced experience? So to answer that question, you have that review, the Element versus the Monolith. To that end, I don't think that the Monolith is really all that different from the Element, especially since the Element is made in America, exceptional parts, great build quality, excellent sound, built-in DAC as well. It's dead simple. You got a big knob on the top, and you got a 1/4 inch in the front. You got a USB out in the back. That's it. If you just want something that works and is good and it will run most, if not all, of the typical headphones that people have, the Element is a great option. And there's no real sound difference, in my opinion, between the unbalance of the two. That's why that review was there. Now, what about the RME? Now, the RME, we're talking about $1,000 to $1,100. Now, the RME is a DAC first, amplifier second, essentially. And that's why they market ADI2 DAC. But it's a great amplifier. But I did tell you that the RME sounded a little bit more warm tone to me than the Monolith. And if we're just talking about pure sound, I think that the Monolith was cleaner, was clearer. In that sense, it was more transparent than the RME, because I thought that the RME colored the sound to the warm tones. And that may be to your preference, it may not be to your preference. Maybe you'll hear a difference like I did, maybe you won't hear a difference. And I can't tell you how you're going to react. But the real difference between the RME and the Monolith, I think, is just the feature set that the RME has. All the wonderful, juicy features that you can access via that color screen, with the great implementation of the menu stuff. There's not two tiny buttons here. You have multiple buttons and knobs, and the menu system is clean, it's clear, it's understandable. And the manual, oh my God, the manual. The manual is the best thing next to sliced bread. It is so easy to read and understand. It is down to earth, comprehensible. The manual tells you what each thing does and puts it in plain language for people like me. Whereas the Monolith, as I said originally, was the people who wrote the Monolith were responsible for the Chernobyl disaster. That's how bad the manual is in that. Now, one viewer, maybe a subscriber, hopefully you subscribe, commented that he had no problems with the menu system of the Monolith. He thought it was dead simple. Great, then no problem for you. For me, I don't think it's all that simple, nor do I think that the way that Monolith has written the instructions is even remotely helpful. When I first got the Monolith, I couldn't get it to work. Plugged everything in, secured everything, wouldn't show up. It would show up on my computer as the DAC, and I selected it. But no sound was coming out. I had no idea what the problem was. I couldn't fix it. I emailed customer support. About 2 days later, I got a response from them. But in the interim, I was trying to get it fixed, and there's nothing in the manual that would explain it, nothing online that I could find that would be helpful. What is going on? I kept fiddling with the menu, and I didn't know what anything did. Nothing seemed to do anything. And I was frustrated, just immensely frustrated, until several hours into trying to fix this thing, I randomly hit something in the menu system, and all of a sudden, all the sound came. And it's been fine since then. I have no idea what menu system or option I clicked. I don't know, because I was going through it so quickly. I was dejected. I was lost. I had no idea what happened. And I don't know what would have done that. I had already selected the USB input option. So from the very beginning, I knew that was the appropriate setting. What happened? I can't tell you. And the instruction manual simply didn't help. Made things more confusing, in my opinion. But the RME, oh my God, the RME. Vastly different experience from the get-go. But for sound, and this is all that we're talking about, but for sound, I think that the Monolith is the better of the two. It clarity, cleanliness, accuracy. I think if you want a clear, transparent sound, the Monolith will probably win. At least in my opinion, it does. But if you want the extra feature sets, then the RME would win. And I would encourage you to go on RME's website, download their manual for the ADI2 DAC, and read it. Because there's so much that this DAC can do. If you find that those are the things that you really are interested in, then the RME is the better of the two, even though it's substantially more expensive. Because you get all those features, and it's really well built, and yeah, it's really good for what it does. But if you don't want all those features after looking at the manual, then the Monolith is clearly the better, especially in the sound department, in my opinion. Ultimately, is the Monolith worth this $480? Well, the only thing I can say is you have to compare it to a similarly situated product, which would be the 789. And we've already done the cost analysis. And once doing the cost analysis, assuming that you can buy the 789 at $350, then the Monolith is definitely the better of the two, price-wise. And if that's all you're going after, then price-wise, it's the better of the two. But you're not going to find the 789 at $350. You're better off winning the lottery at this point than finding the 789 at $350. And so instead of a $100 difference, roughly, you're looking at $500 difference, because you're spending $750 for the 789 on eBay, plus probably $250, maybe more on an amp, plus taxes and shipping, and not an amp, on a DAC, plus taxes and shipping and all that stuff, all that hassle, right? And so, at that point, shoot, I don't know if there's a big enough difference to justify that. I mean, even if there is a difference in sound quality, it is most definitely, in my opinion, not worth a $500 difference. No way. Bottom line, if you're interested in getting a balanced experience, the Monolith is a fantastic option. It's expensive, I'll grant you that, but it justifies it being expensive by having a balanced DAC implementation, and a true balanced implementation. It's not like it's fake balanced. It's true balance from beginning to end, as I described previously. The dual module set, 2 DACs, 2 amp modules, that keeps the channels separate. You're getting actual balanced sound. And you know what? For that, I think that does, in a way, justify the $480 price tag. And if you already have a balanced DAC for whatever reason, and you don't have a balanced amplifier, then this is still a better option than the 789 currently, because the 789 is not available on Massdrop unless you want to wait and hope that you're among the 3,500 that actually get to buy it. And on eBay, we just saw how much it costs. So every which way that you're trying to look at it financially, the Monolith tends to be the better of the two options if you're looking for a balanced experience. Sound-wise, sounds great. Clean, clear, transparent. And I think you will be fairly happy with the way that it sounds based upon the review that I did. So go back and watch the reviews, the actual sound reviews of the Monolith. Because now I'm just talking general, and I can't tell you general stuff because that doesn't really help. Okay, so that's my conclusion to the Monolith. If you have any questions, please ask. If you have any concerns, let me know. If you have any comments regarding what I did in order to test, let me know. I'll be happy to answer any concerns, comments, questions, blah, blah, blah. Thank you once again for subscribing. Thank you so much for wishing me a happy birthday. It was a really good happy birthday. It was a good birthday. Yeah, it's really good. July 3rd was good. Did nothing. I was involved in a little bit of controversy, as you may know, because of a video that I uploaded. Everybody was very nice, except for one individual who lost his cool, acted in a very, very childish way. And by the way, this is not the person, I'm talking about somebody else. There's two people involved. One is a person who eventually invited me to have a conversation with him and discuss these things because he completely disagreed with everything I said, and that was fine. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other person who yesterday started commenting and got very childish about it. I'm not going to say what his name is because he doesn't deserve the notoriety. The point of this channel, before I close, because I'm done with the Monolith stuff. There's not going to be any more discussion about the Monolith on this video. So if you want to stop, go right ahead. It's going to be another couple of minutes, however. The whole point of my channel is that other reviewers simply don't provide substantive information. Whether my information is helpful to you or not is for you to decide. And if it's not helpful and there's something I need to change, the type of information that I need to add in my videos, if you let me know, then I'll try to do that. But the length of my videos, the reason that they're so long is because I try to be as accurate as possible, and I try to go through the process with you so that you know what I'm doing. A lot of you may disagree with what I say about something. A lot of you may agree with something that I say. Who knows? But at least this is how my process is. It's upfront, and the way I listen, you understand where my biases are. I try to be upfront about those. I buy my own stuff. I don't get any hand-me-downs from other reviewers. I don't get any donations from anybody. I don't get handouts from the manufacturers. This is all mine. So I have an incentive to be as honest as possible about something and not hold back. Other reviewers who are funded by corporations, by companies, who rely upon the goodwill of those companies to get more products all the time, I think have an inherent bias, and it's a hard bias to get over, especially if the information they give you is so lackluster and it's so vague. Now, when Joshua Valur and I had our conversation after I uploaded the video about his review of the Verum 1, one of the justifications he provided for the short length of his videos is that that's what people tend to want from him, shorter videos, and they want slick videos, and so that's what he tries to do is he accommodates, and I understand that he has to reach his audience, and I understand the justification for that. But I ain't like that. I don't really care for short videos because you can go for a short video anywhere online, but you can't really get a detailed video out of a short video. And so those individuals who have a problem with that, well, you're welcome to go somewhere else. I'm not keeping you here. I'm not asking for your money. And so if you disagree with me, there are plenty of other places you can go and try to find information. And if you find information that's better than mine, more detailed than mine, then excellent. I'm glad that you did. But if you can't, and I'm the only one that's actually doing these detailed reviews, whether or not you agree with my conclusions, you should be thanking me, not yelling at me, not being verbally abusive, and certainly not trying to suggest or stating outright that I'm being unfair to others. I'm not being unfair to others. I think it's completely fair to point out that other reviewers are simply not doing X, Y, or Z. And I think it's completely fair for me to say that a particular reviewer is shilling things. And I think it's completely fair for me to say that I don't like another reviewer's personality in their videos because they tend to be very vitriolic and say offensive things about others. I mean, real offensive things like, I want to beat the shit out of that guy. That sort of stuff. Like Bad Guy Good Reviews says on a regular basis. And if you think that's okay, great for you. Go watch his videos. But if you want a different perspective, a slightly more calm and more detailed perspective, hey, where else can you go? If you find somewhere else to go, go right ahead. Ultimately, I am not going to change my format. I will provide shorter videos to supplement the longer ones. And I am always open to discussing different points of views as long as we can all be respectful with each other and understand if we have differences, and that's okay. We can be adult and still have differences and still get along. But I am not going to change the format so that it's exactly the same like everybody else's or very close to like what everybody else does. Nah, that's not going to happen. Go watch their videos instead if that's what you want. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Later today, I will upload a Hibby R6 conclusion because I haven't done one yet. It's way beyond time to do it. So that's going to happen later today in probably 4 or 5 hours. Hopefully this Monolith video has been helpful. If it has, let me know. If it hasn't, let me know. Tell me what else I need to change. If I need to upload a shorter video to kind of correct the things that were not in this video, let me know. I'll do that. Have a wonderful Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. It's going to be great. Hey, the soccer game on Sunday, U.S. versus, who are we playing? Netherlands. U.S. versus Netherlands. Go U.S. Yeah. I love watching soccer. I especially love Women's World Cup. I think all those women are fantastic. Really talented. A whole lot better than the American men's team. I got to tell you that much. The American men's team, where are they? We can't win a game. But the women's team, man, we kick butt. Celebrate America. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate all of you, all your feedback, all your critiques, as long as they're in a positive way. That's really cool. And thank you so much for supporting me. You are all wonderful people, and I hope you have a great end of your Friday and a fantastic beginning to your weekend. Take care.